For the first time ever, a Florida teacher was fired after using a student's preferred name without their parents' consent. I mean, this is crazy. Melissa Calhoun, a teacher at Satellite High School, learned that her contract will not be renewed next year after she called a student by a different name without getting a signed form from their parents. The 11-year veteran teacher was respecting the request of a student whose legal name is associated with a girl's but wanted to be called something else, and after learning about this, the student's parents notified the school, sparking an investigation. A spokesperson for the school said they support the parents' right to be the primary decision makers in their children's lives, and Florida law affirms their right to be informed. And after being confronted, the teacher admitted that she knowingly did not comply with the state statute because she does not agree with it. As a result, the district chose not to renew Calhoun's annual contract as the state reviews her teaching credentials for violating the state law. This has sparked outrage in the local community as people are saying this teacher made a difference in her classroom and in the lives of our students, including my own child. She deserved more than a quiet exit. She deserved fairness, context, and compassion. There's currently a petition to reinstate Miss Calhoun that has racked up over 20,000 signatures. But let me know what you guys think about all of this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
This is the kind of story that makes you stop and ask, what are you really doing to teachers in the United States? Hey y'all, welcome back to Trending Pulse Worldwide. My name is Amy, and today we are talking about a Florida teacher who's under fire. Not for failing her students, not for misconduct, but for calling a student by their preferred name. Yeah, you heard me right. And today's word is respect, something we say schools should teach, but apparently not something teachers are allowed to show anymore. So here's what happened. A teacher in Florida could lose her job, or better yet, the district is saying she's not eligible for reappointment because she referred to a student by the name they prefer, not their biological name, not the one on the birth certificate, but the name that they identify with. Now, under Florida law, schools are required to get parental permission before using a student's chosen name or pronouns. And the idea is that parents need to be in control of their child's identity in the classroom. But y'all, this student asked the teacher to call them by a certain name. The teacher did, and now her contract might not be renewed. So, before I continue with this interesting topic, let's take a look at some of the videos and see how people are reacting to this issue. Then I'll be back and we can have a discussion on it.
Florida teacher's contract will not be renewed after she called a student by their preferred name, and the community is now in outrage. 26,000 or more people have already signed a petition calling on her to get her job back, but now the Florida State Board of Education will be looking over whether or not she should even have a teacher's license. So what happened here was a parent at a Satellite High School in Satellite Beach, Florida, complained that the teacher was calling a student by their preferred name and that the parent had not consented to this. Remember, folks, this is at a high school where students are 14 years or older. Now, it's unclear exactly what the preferred name was or what the teacher was calling the student, but the student was getting called by the name they wanted the teacher to call them. And because the parent got mad that the parent didn't know and didn't consent, the teacher's contract will now not be renewed, and the teacher's license may be in jeopardy.
A classroom is meant to be a place of learning and a place where teachers and students can develop respect and trust. This news story is deeply disturbing. More so, it's deeply concerning to know that this student is in a difficult living situation with parents who obviously do not love them unconditionally.
A teacher in Florida has been fired for calling a student their preferred name. Fired. And I know they don't have another teacher on standby to replace them immediately either. But my thing is like, my name isn't Cole. Well, it's my middle name. It would be my preferred name. I'm not trans. When I was in high school, I knew multiple fucking people who either went by a name they completely made up, shortened, or a middle name. Why is that an issue? We've been doing that for fucking years. The only reason it's an issue to call someone a nickname or a preferred name now is because you're transphobic. That shit's fucking weird.
Is it really going to take until school shooters are threatening to call students by their preferred names for those local and state authorities to actually get involved?
Things are getting crazy. Everywhere you go, there's new rules, new laws, new everything. So you got to know the rules or the laws of wherever you are. She's actually a great teacher. A lot of the students came together. They signed a petition for her to get her job back. What do you think about that? Should people get fired because they called somebody else or a student in the classroom by a preferred name? Should there be any consequences in that?
This is ridiculous to me. I understand because it is a law. Okay, there should be some type of damages because of this, right? The teacher broke the law, but to be fired over this, to possibly lose her teaching license over this, is ridiculous. This is absurd. So I hope this does not happen to Melissa Calhoun. I hope she's able to find another job. I mean, this is just getting out of hand. I understand, like I said, that this is a law, but this lady went to school to teach children and just in a blink of a hat like that, lose her teaching license because she decided, okay, let me respect the child and just like use the child's name. I don't know. It's just, this is too far, if you ask me.
Is this going to apply when a teacher uses a nickname too? Because one of my children has a nickname. He goes by some places and his biological name others. It's not a gender issue. It's just what he's always been called. So in this case, this is a teacher who's respecting her students, who's doing what she's supposed to when it comes to her students. And that's why we're here, right? As teachers and educators, is for the kids. And she got fired for it. This is where we're coming from. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It is from Florida. You know, the state that said don't say gay. So I guess I really shouldn't be surprised that this is the case. But come on, Florida, do better. Take care of your kids. And if you are so upset that your teacher is calling your kid something that you don't know about, perhaps you need to re-examine your relationship with your child. Schools, teachers, we need to back people like this who are in it for the kids, not the adults. Have a great weekend.
And because of this, Florida will be reviewing her license to teach. Brevard Public Schools came out with a statement, and in their statement, they said, at BPS, our focus is on education. Teachers are here to teach and support students academically. If they're there to teach and support students academically, then who cares about the name? And how far does this go? Does the teacher have to give written permission anytime the student goes, oh, I prefer to be called Alex instead of Alexandra? Like, how far does it go? Oh, I prefer to go by my middle name instead of my first name. Like, what are the rules here? What a silly thing to be wasting people's time with. There's currently a petition on change.org that you can sign. It's about to hit 11,000 signatures. Where are we at? 10,943. Because this is just, why are we wasting our energy on stuff like this? Why is this the big problem? They are exhausting, but I'm not going to let them exhaust me.
Now that we've seen all the clips and had everyone's side, let me just say this. This story sounds crazy, and honestly, that's because it is. And I had to fact check this a couple of times just to make sure people weren't exaggerating. But nope, the core of the story is true. A teacher is at risk of losing her job for calling a student by their preferred name without written parental permission. And yes, we want to protect kids. We want parents involved in their children's lives. Nobody's arguing against that. But firing a teacher for showing a student basic respect, that just feels like we've gone off the rails. And it wasn't some act of rebellion. This was a teacher trying to make a student feel seen. And now she's being punished for that. We are really setting a dangerous precedent here. Because once we start turning compassion into a policy violation, where does it end? And again, we can stand our ground and be cautious, but we also need to be real. These are human beings we are talking about, students, teachers, families. And in a time where schools are struggling just to keep good educators, the last thing we need is to drive them away over politics. So whether you agree or not, ask yourself this: are we creating safer schools or just more divided ones? Let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more trending and honest talks like this.